Okay, I'm looking at some examples from IXL Skill I1. Write a variable expression for the given phrase. So number one says to subtract C from V to the 7th power. Subtract C from V to the 7th power. Be careful anytime you're talking about subtraction. If you're going to subtract C from something, then you have to subtract C from something. We're subtracting it from V to the 7th power. So V to the 7th power minus C. Number two, find the difference of C and V, then multiply by 7. If we want to find a difference, that's subtraction. All right? With subtraction, we can keep the order the same. If you want the difference between 10 and 2, you take 10 minus 2. If you want the difference of C and V, we take C minus V. So we want to do that first, which means we need parentheses around it, so that we would subtract and then multiply. All right? So times that by 7. Now, that's fine written that way. Probably more familiar, more likely is to write 7 and then the C minus V in parentheses. But you have to have parentheses there so that we override. Normally we would multiply before we subtract. Okay, remember the order of operations. P-E-M-D-A-S. Normally we would multiply before we subtract. But if we put the subtraction within parentheses, then we know to do that first. Number 3, divide C by V raised to the 7th power. We're going to divide C by V to the 7th power. There we go. Letter number 4, raise C to the 7th power, then divide the result by V. So the first thing is to raise C to the 7th power, and then divide that result by V. So to divide by V, we're going to use a fraction bar, not a division sign, and write it like this. One thing to keep in mind when you're at IXL, you will have to use a slash bar, I think. I'm not positive on that. So you might have to use a slash bar. I can't remember. I should really know that. But C to the 7th divided by V. All right, but I'd prefer when you're writing it on paper, write it as that horizontal fraction bar. Number 5, find the sum of C and V, that means to add, and then multiply by 7. So add C plus V. Okay, we want to do that first and then multiply by 7. So you could write it that way, or 7 times C plus V, or V plus C. The order there, when we add, the order doesn't matter. All right, number 6, divide C by V. Then raise this quotient to the 7th power. Divide C by V. That's this. And then raise that quotient to the 7th power. So we want an exponent of 7, but we don't want just C to the 7th. We want to take that quotient and raise it to the 7th power. So the C over V has to be in parentheses there, raised to the 7th power. Number 7, find the sum of C and V. Find the sum of C and V multiplied by 7. So C plus V multiplied by 7. It doesn't say to find the sum first, so we don't need parentheses here. We just need to have the sum of two things, C and V multiplied by 7. So at IXL, they'll let you type it that way. I've said before, I'd prefer, at the very least, to see you writing 7V, not V times 7. But they'll let you type it that way at IXL. Number 8, find the sum of 7 and C squared. So find the sum of 7 plus C squared. 7 plus C squared. It's a sum of 7 and C squared. All right, number 9, find the sum of 7 and C, then cube the result. If we're going to add first, this will need parentheses. So the sum of 7 and C is 7 plus C. We want to do that first, so we'll put it inside parentheses. And then we will cube the result. That means we'll raise that result to the third power. Number 10, double v. Okay, to double something, you times by 2. So we'll say 2 times v, 2v, and then subtract 7 from the result. So we doubled the v first, and then we're going to subtract 7 from that result. Okay, make sure you're subtracting 7 from 2v, not 2v minus 7. Number 11, multiply the sum of c and 7 by v. So we want to find the sum first. The sum of c and 7 needs to be multiplied by v. So we could type it or write it that way. Probably the more standard way is to put the v in front of the two terms in parentheses. Last one, find the product of 7 and v. Product means to multiply. So we want 7 times v. We don't need the times sign. Then add c to that result. So then add c. All right. Now, keep in mind, with all of these answers, we can add in any order. So order doesn't matter when you add or multiply. So keep that in mind if your answer doesn't look exactly like mine. That order doesn't matter when you add or multiply, so if you had them added in a different order and swapped places, that's okay. If you were multiplying and you had the order swapped, it's okay. All right, so give I1 a try.